Welcome back to Session 2 of JA Our Community. We would like to go over the materials real quick. You'll need your volunteer guides. You'll want your table tents that you collected from last session. You will want your ingredient sticker sheets. These should be divided so that you have a pile of the egg stickers, a pile of the flour stickers, and a pile of the milk stickers all together. And then you will want your Sweet O donut sheets. These are not to be punched out. The students will do that as part of the activity. Also, the community poster should be hung up, and then the students will also want to have a red, blue, and yellow crayon. The students should have those shouldn't be a problem. It's probably not something you'll have to bring with you to your classroom. At the beginning, you'll want to go ahead and do your review of your previous activities and talk about businesses and how they're important for the community to get their needs and wants. And then ask the kids, do you like donuts? And have you ever made them? Would you like to know how they're made? And of course, allow time for the students to answer those questions. Then write the word production on the board and ask the students if they know what that means. Define it for them, and then ask them what a product is and ask them if they know what that means. And then of course define that for them if they cannot come up with it on their own. The next step is you want to tell them about how they make donuts, the production of making the product of donuts. So I write this on the board so that it makes the activity go better. I write number 1, mix, 2, shape the donuts, 3, they have to flavor the donuts, and then 4, they have to check the donuts to make sure they are well made and that their customers will approve of them. Then you'll go ahead and do the activity. What I do is that I divide the class into 4 equal groups. Now, just so you know, if the groups are not equal, a student might have to go more than once so that way you have equal groups. You want equal groups so that way you can compare the 2 different methods of production. You will want to have the first group sit, so you'll have 4 equal groups. You'll have 2 groups sit at desks. The other 2 groups will stand around the 2 desks. That way they can watch what's going on. So what I do is I tell the students that the first thing they're going to do is we're going to learn about unit production. And unit production is where one person has to do the entire making of the donuts. They have to do the entire product from start to finish. Then give them the directions. So the students who are sitting, they have to do this. They have to, 1, mix the donuts. The way they mix the donuts is they have to put 1 of each of these stickers on the back of the donut. Then they have to shape the donuts. To shape the donuts, they actually punch out the donut from the actual material. Then they will flavor the donut. They'll color the center portion red, blue, or yellow with their crayon. And then they'll have to check their donut. They have to make sure, did I do all the parts? Because obviously if they forget an ingredient, it won't taste good. If it's shaped funny, it won't look good. And if it's not flavored, the customers won't want to eat it. Then you will have them start and make sure you time for 2 minutes, that each group gets the same amount. So you'll say, okay, are there any questions? Now are you ready? Set, go. And you're going to have these 2 groups work. You're going to try to have them produce as many donuts as they can. In order for a donut to be counted, they have to have done all the steps. It has to be mixed with 3 ingredients. It has to be shaped by being punched out. It has to be flavored by being colored neatly. Then you will go ahead and have call time when you're done. And you might want to have an inspector go ahead and inspect the donuts. Make sure, do they meet that criteria? Have they done all 3 mixing ingredients? Have they shaped the donuts? Have they colored the donuts? You might also want to talk about defects. If somebody has made sloppy coloring, you might say, ooh, this is really sloppy, and one of our customers might not want it because it's too messy. And then you might want to have to put that to the side. So find all the good donuts, all the ones that are done right, and then I just add the 2 groups up together and say, okay, these people got 47 donuts completed within this time, and they were called unit production. So next to unit production, I write 47. That way we know that that's how many they had done. Then what I do is the sitting students end up standing up. The standing students end up sitting down, and now it's their turn. So again, make sure that if you had 5 students in the first group, you have 5 students in the second group. Both teams should be equal. That way the same amount of students are involved. This time it's called an assembly line production, and I tell them that that means you have a specialty. You only have to do one job, and then you have to pass it on to the next person. So then you'll have mixers. You'll actually have 3 mixers. One who's in charge of the eggs, one who's in charge of the flour, one who's in charge of the milk. You'll tell them that they will go ahead and take a sheet of the donuts, and again it should all be attached like this. You'll have the egg person put one on, pass it on to the flour person. Then the flour person puts one on, passes it on to the milk person, and etc. Then you'll have the shaper. The shaper will remove the donuts. You'll have the colorer who will actually color the donuts. And then you'll have the person who checks it to make sure. Now again, the 4th person, the checker, depending on class sizes, sometimes I have that, sometimes I don't. It just depends on how many students I have. I usually have the students sit in the order that it will go around. That way it will go around in an easy manner so that you make sure that everything is done in order. Obviously we have to have the milk, the eggs, the flour first before we're able to shape it. So you have to talk about how you kind of have to do it in order in the process. Then you'll tell them again that you will tell them when to start, you'll give them 2 minutes, and then you'll add together how many donuts that they have all gotten done. So go ahead and start the time, have them do 2 minutes, have the inspector again, count up how many donuts they get done, and write that on the board. Again, you might want to talk about defects, remove those ones that are missing a sticker that didn't quite get completed, that those do not count. Then what you do is on the board, I just compare the quantities that we have, who ended up meeting their goal, or who ended up winning per se, or who and what production method was best. It should show that assembly line typically usually has more people, more donuts that are produced. If not, you can talk about maybe why that didn't work out this time and maybe how it can improve for next time. And then talk about, is it better to work alone or is it better to work in teams? And they might even be able to tell you how some jobs you have to work alone depending upon the job. Then ask them why sharing and communication and listening is so important when giving directions and when producing products. Tell those students when you're going to return. Collect the table tents from the lessons. The students can keep the donuts if the teacher would like them to. Make sure that you ask them where the teacher would like them placed before you leave. Some volunteers do bring donuts in for this activity. That is completely optional, up to you, but please make sure that you have that approved to check for allergies. Enjoy session 2.